Hi everybody and welcome to my next tutorial. My name is Moltenan and today I've prepared for you a tutorial about censoring your footage. This is basically about blurring or doing a mosaic on a part of the image. And there are many ways to do this and I would like to show you some of them. So let me just close this down. Let's clear this composition and clear this folder also. And we have this footage of a guy wearing a mask. Well, as you can see, there's nothing much to censor in this footage, but what I guess it will have to do. Um, okay, so let's start by creating a new composition. So let's drag this footage onto the Make New Comp button. And you know what, let's just trim it something about 15 seconds, something more, maybe 18 seconds. Okay, that's nice. And like I said, this is basically about blurring part of the image. So first of all, we need to define what part of the image is the one that we want to blur out, and then we have to just adjust or animate the mask or whatever it will be that will define the part of the image that we would like to blur out. So first of all, the most obvious way, I think, but also not very elegant, is to duplicate the layer, apply the blur or mosaic filter. We'll use a mosaic filter. Let's set it to 40 and 40. And let's use an elliptical mask tool to draw a mask around his head. So to do that, I will start drawing from his eye and then hold Ctrl to draw in both directions and then hold Shift to create a perfect circle. Okay, so I think that's right. Now select the layer, press MM to reveal the mask properties, and let's feather this out a bit, so about 30 pixels, more, maybe more. And now as you can see, the mask stays in the same position, but the guy moves. So right here we can see that the part of his head is blurred out and the other part is still visible. So we need to animate the mask, and to do that, click on the mask shape, click the stopwatch button, and move forward. Let's just move this a bit. Now let's move it over here. You can leave it like it is, leave it like it is, maybe a bit to the right. And I guess that's it. Oh, maybe not. We need to adjust the mask position on this frame. So that's good. And I think we're good with this. Let's do it a different way. Delete the blurred out layer. And now let's create a new solid layer. Make it comp size. Press T to reveal the opacity. Let's just lower the opacity so we can see through the layer. And let's do the same, so let's draw a mask, okay? And we can also feather this out a bit, so press MM, 30, oh, I guess we've used 40, so let's leave it at 40. And now we can also duplicate our video layer and apply the mosaic filter also. And let's pump up the opacity to 100%. And now we are going to use the alpha channel of this layer to drive the alpha channel of this layer. So we are going to set a track matte to alpha matte black solid 1. And we also need to animate this layer, but in this case we are going to animate the whole layer, not just the mask, because I guess this is much easier to do. So let's just reveal the position keyframes. So press P on your keyboard click on the stopwatch and then just move forward. Undo. We can lock these two layers so we avoid this kind of situation. Now let's drag this a bit to the right, a bit to the right again, now backwards, maybe a little bit down, to the right. So this is basically it. Nothing very complicated. And there's also another way of doing this, and this should be okay for most cases, but there are probably some situations where this won't work. But the whole idea is to create a new adjustment layer. Oh, by the way, in the previous example, instead of duplicating this layer, you could also use an adjustment layer like I'm going to show you in this case, and apply the mosaic filter. And in the previous example, you would create a solid layer to just and draw the same mask and do basically all the same things. So also set the track mat and like that. But we're not going to use to do this in this situation. But let's turn this off for a second. Let's go back to our video layer and let's go to window tracker controls. So we are going to track his head and use the tracking data to drive the position of the adjustment layer. So let's click on track motion. Let me just extend this window a bit and zoom in, and let's set a track point. I think that his eye would be a pretty good track point. Let's extend the search area and let's extend the tracker area, and let's just click on track one frame so we can see if the tracker sticks well. And let's click on track forwards. Well, basically we don't need a very precise track on this one, so if this moves a bit from his eye, don't worry about it. It should be okay. So I think that's it. Let's just wait till it tracks. You can, just go ahead and make yourself a cup of tea or something like that. Okay, the tracking is almost finished. And now, next step. We could of course apply this tracking data to our adjustment layer, but the way I like to do this whenever I use a tracker is to create a new null object. Let's call this tracking data. Is to apply this tracking data onto this layer and then parent whatever I like to this layer. So let's hit on edit target and select tracking data layer, click OK, and then apply X and Y, that's right, both dimensions, and that's it. Let's just close this window and this window also. And as you can see, the null object sticks pretty well to his eye, and this is exactly what we want. And now let's parent the adjustment layer to our tracking data layer. Let's call this blur or whatever. And as you can see, this adjustment layer blurs out the whole image. So now we are just going to draw a mask like we did in the previous examples. And this is it. Let's just press MM to reveal this the mask properties. Let's feather this out about 50 pixels. And let's do a RAM preview again. And so, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. And stay tuned for more exciting tutorials on my website. My name is Maltenan and the website is www.maltenan.com. See you there. Cheers.